Good morning, students. Today we are going to start chapter 5 of English literature, that is Rip Van Winkle. It is a story about Rip Van Winkle. He was a very good man, but he was very lazy, who goes away into the hills and falls asleep. When he awakens 20 years later, Rip finds that quite a few things have changed. He slept for how many years? He kept sleeping for 20 years. So, in this story, we are going to read what all things happened when he was sleeping and what kind of a man he was, what all he used to do. So, let's begin the story. Many years ago, at the foothills of the Catskill Mountain was a little village. In the village lived a simple, good-natured fellow named Rip Van Winkle. He was a kind neighbor, ready to help anyone. Everyone in the village liked him. The children of the village shouted with joy whenever they saw him because he played with them. He taught them to fly kites and shoot marbles and told them long stories. So, where did he live? He lived at the foothills of the Catskill Mountain. There was a village at the foothills of Catskill Mountain. There the Rip Van Winkle lived. He was very simple living. He was very simple man and good nature. What do you mean by good nature? Good nature means he was very gentle, calm, and he was a very kind neighbor, always ready to help anyone. Everyone in the village liked him, and especially the children shouted with joy. Shouted with joy means whenever they see Rip Van Winkle, they became very happy. Why? Because he used to play with them and he used to teach them how to fly kites and shoot marbles, and he also told them many long stories. That is why children of the village loved him. The The only problem with Rip was that he was very lazy. He did not work on his own farm and just idled away his time. His fences were falling into pieces. His cow was going astray. Weeds grew on his farm. Rip's constant companion was his dog named Wolf. To avoid work, he would walk away into the forest with his dog. But there was one problem with Rip Van Winkle. What was that problem? That he was very lazy. He didn't want to work. He didn't want to do any single piece of work. He didn't even work on his own farm. He just wasted his time. Idled away means wasted. And the fences of the fences means railing of the farms were also ruined. They were also broken. And his cows were going astray means आवारा हो गई थी, वो भी इधर उधर घूमने लग गई थी. Weeds grew on his farm. Many unwanted plants grew on his farm. And Rip also has a constant companion. Constant companion means one permanent friend. And who was his friend? A dog. And what was the name of the dog? Wolf. And to avoid the work, what did he do all day? He just walked away into the forest with his dog named Wolf. One day, Rip just walked on and reached the highest part of the mountains. It was late in the afternoon when he reached there. Tired after his long climb, and he lay down and began daydreaming. It was soon evening and he realized it would be night by the time he reached his village. One day he just kept on walking and he reached the highest part of the mountain, and when he reached there it was late in the afternoon. He got tired that he laid down there and started to dream. And soon it was evening and he realized that it would be very late by the time he will reach his village. कि अब तो अगर वो इस टाइम पे वापस उतरना स्टार्ट करेगा for his village तो वो तो बहुत लेट हो जाएगा रात को. Suddenly he heard a voice calling out, Rip Van Winkle, Rip Van Winkle. He looked around and saw a short old man with thick hair and a grizzled beard walking towards him with a barrel. He made sign to help him carry the barrel. Rip hurried to help the stranger, who caught his hand tightly. Together they reached a place where there were some more odd looking men playing nine pins. They were all dressed the same way, and all of them had beards of various shapes and colors. Even though they were playing a game, their faces were serious and there was silence. The only sound was the noise of the balls, which echoed in the mountains like thunder. So when he was laying down at the top of the mountain, he suddenly heard a voice, and he heard that someone is calling his name. Rip Van Winkle, Rip Van Winkle. He looked around here and there. He started to look here and there who is calling his name. So he saw a short old man with thick hair. बहुत ज़्यादा उसके hairs थे, and a grizzled beard walking towards him with a barrel. Grizzled beard means grey beard थी उसकी, and he was walking towards the Rip Van Winkle with a barrel. Barrel is a big container. You can see in this picture. The odd man is having a barrel in his hand. This is Rip Van Winkle, and this is his dog named Wolf. So the odd man was calling his name. He made signs to help him carry the barrel. He was asking for help from the Rip Van Winkle. Why? Because he was very short and he was carrying a very heavy container. He was not able to pick that container. So he asked Rip Van Winkle to help him. So together they reached a place where there were some more odd looking men playing nine pins. And then the odd looking men hold his hand and took him to a place where Rip Van saw some more odd looking men. And which game they were playing? They all were playing nine pins. They all were dressed in the same way, all had beards. Even though they were playing games, when we play game, we have smile on our face. We are very happy when we play games. But these odd men, they were not at all happy. They were very serious. And there was silence, total silence all around. As Rip and his companion reached them, they stopped playing and stared at Rip with a fixed gaze. Rip was really frightened. His companion emptied the contents of the barrel into glasses and made Rip drink it. Rip obeyed as he was trembling with fear. Since he was thirsty, he drank a few more glasses and slowly fell into a deep sleep. When Rip and his companion was a dog, they reached them. All the odd men, they stopped playing, and what do they start to do? They started to stare at Rip Van Winkle. Stare at Rip Van Winkle means उसको खेलना बंद कर दिया और उसकी तरफ घूरना स्टार्ट कर दिया, उसको देखना स्टार्ट कर दिया. Rip was really frightened. He got frightened. वो डर गया. His companion emptied the contents of the barrel into glasses. जो भी इस कंटेनर में लिक्विड था, उसके कंपेनियन डॉग ने उसको क्या किया? ही एम्प्टीड द कंटेंट ऑफ द बैरल इनटू ग्लासेस. उसने उसको ग्लासेस में शिफ्ट कर दिया एंड मेड रिप ड्रिंक इट. रिप ओबेड एज ही वॉज ट्रेम्बलिंग विद फियर. रिप ने उनकी बात मान ली और उसने वो सारी ड्रिंक पी ली. एज ही वॉज थर्स्टी ही ड्रैंक अ फ्यू मोर ग्लासेस एंड स्लोली फेल इनटू डीप स्लीप. और वो ड्रिंक पीने के बाद वो बहुत ही डीप स्लीप में चला गया. On waking up, he found that he was at the place where he had first met the old man. He rubbed his eyes. It was bright sunny morning. Surely I have not slept here all night, thought Rip. And when he woke up, और जब वो उठा तो उसने देखा कि वो उसी प्लेस पे था जहाँ पे उसको फर्स्ट ओल्ड मैन मिला था. When we wake up, जब हम उठते हैं, we rub our eyes ना. He also rubbed his eyes and it was a bright sunny morning. He thought that he has not slept here for the whole night. He looked around for Wolf, but he was nowhere. Rip whistled for him. Wolf, wolf, he then shouted. No dog was to be seen. Where has this dog gone? He muttered to himself. He began to descend the mountain to go back to his village. And when he woke up, what did he find? That wolf is not there along with him. He has gone somewhere. He got tensed. He began to shout for his companion. He started to whistle for him. He started to call out his name, Wolf, Wolf, but dog was nowhere. So he muttered to himself. Muttered means he slowly spoke to himself. Where has this dog gone? ये dog कहाँ पे चला गया? He began to descend the mountain to go back to his village. Began to descend the mountain means कि उसने mountain उतरना start कर दिया so that he can reach back his village. As he neared the village, he met a number of people, but he didn't know any of them. The villagers also stared at him, equally surprised. Who is this man? Said one. I have never seen him before, said another. Look at this, his long white beard and his wrinkled face. So when he walked down the mountain, he reached his village. He met a number of people, but he didn't know any of them. The villagers stared at him. They also started to look at him with surprise because they didn't know him. Who was he? So one of them said, Who is this man? Said, I have never seen him before, said another. Then the another one said, I have never seen him before in the village. Then he said, Look at his long white beard and his wrinkled face. You can see in the picture such a long white beard and wrinkled face. He became very old. On hearing this, Rip stroked his chin, and to his astonishment, he found his beard had grown a foot long and it was all white. An old woman walked up to him and looked at his face for a moment. Then he exclaimed, It is Rip Van Winkle. Welcome home again, old neighbor. Where have you been these 20 long years? Then when one of the men said, Look at his long white beard. Then Rip also touched his chin, and what did he notice? That his beard has grown foot long. It has grown so long. Then suddenly an old woman came near him, and she looked at his face for a moment. Then she recognized it is Rip Van Winkle. उस old woman ने Rip Van Winkle को पहचान लिया. She said, Welcome home again, old neighbor. She welcomed her old neighbor, and then she asked him a question. Where have you been these 20 long years? कि तुम 20 years तक कहाँ थे? इतने टाइम के बाद आप विलेज में वापस आए हो. So for how many years he keep on sleeping? He keep on sleeping for 20 years. 20 years के बाद जब वो उठा तो विलेज में कोई भी उसको पहचान ही नहीं पाया. Only one old woman was able to recognize him. So students, this was the story of a man called Rip Van Winkle who kept sleeping for 20 years. Thank you.